Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello. Welcome. How are we all doing today?
Good.
Awesome. Happy Saturday. My name is Michaela. I am one of the providers here at Mental Mediators. So if you haven't been here before, welcome to the practice. First and foremost, thank you all for being here. We're so grateful to have everyone here with us today. We're really excited to get the event going. So why are we all here? The goal of today's event is to discuss the connection between the mind and the body. There is an undeniable connection that there are so many parts of us that are completely interconnected. So when one area of our health is struggling, it's going to impact every other area of our health as well. So that's exactly what we're talking about today. So specifically, we're going to focus on social health today, financial health, and physical health, and how those are interconnected and how each domain impacts the other. So we hope that it offers some education and insight and social support and connection as well. So as a note, I've already made this announcement before, but this event is going to be recorded for educational and promotional purposes. So if anyone did hear that announcement and has any objection to being recorded or just doesn't want to be, this back corner, I think that's like your back right corner if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the place for you to be. The door is not in the frame, so if you need to slip out for whatever reason, you won't be in any camera frame. Following that, if you need to use the restroom, they're going to be in the back. There's one on each side as well as our exits. And at the very end, there's going to be food as well, I believe. So at the end, I will remind everyone to grab a snack, and there's going to be a Q&A, and we can all chat after and just, be together and discuss anything we learned. Okay. Any questions before we get started? All right, fantastic. So to begin, I'm going to cue up Travis Diller. Him and I are going to demonstrate some grounding, and everyone is welcome to participate, including our kiddos, after which I will cue our kiddos to follow Ashley and Will outside for some activities. Okay, so we got Ashley over here on our left. We got Will over here on the right, okay? Cool. All right, fantastic. All right, Travis, I'm going to take it over to you.
All right, cool. You ready, Michaela?
I'm ready.
All right, so I'm Travis. I'm one of the providers here at Mental Mediator, and I'm going to run you guys through a brief meditation. Get us nice and calm, nice and relaxed, and nice and ready to take in all this information. So, Michaela, you're going to be my assistant.
Excellent.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And you guys can follow along. Ready?
Yes.
As much as that belly as you can, because we don't normally do that. One more, get the best one you can. How you guys feeling?
Good.
Great.
All right, let's get it started.
All right, so ready to take in all of this fantastic information.
Right on.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so we very much underestimate the power of a few deep breaths. So that's something that's always available to us at any time. Our first presentation is going to be focused on financial wellness. So please help me welcome Mr. John Bodner for today's presentation.
Thank you. You all have a handout there, so we're gonna go through as much of it as we can. All right. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Dr. Wayne. Most of you know Dr. Wayne, right? Thanks for the opportunity to spend my Saturday morning on the New Jersey Turnpike. Thank you very much. I met Wayne many years ago in Madison, New Jersey. We were neighbors in the hood together, in the mean streets of Madison, New Jersey. All right. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm not sure I've ever done a presentation as part of the mind-body linkage, and it's fantastic. Because we usually compartmentalize all those different physical health, mental health, right? Exercise, faith in God, and then and sometimes you can get all that right, and the thing that screws you up is the money, the financial side, because that creates so much stress, and all the blocks start to tumble down. So hopefully 20 minutes to a half hour from now, I'm going to help you through a little bit of that. But we're just going to scratch the surface, because I am pretty much going to go like hyper speed here on you, all right? Because there's so much, right? We'll just scratch the surface. So strap on your seat belts, put your chin strap on, because I'm really going to give it to you like a fire hose here, all right? So I'm John, that's Justin, my partner. I've been doing this since 1981. It's really the only job I ever really had, right, out of college. So that's 45 years. It's hard to believe, right? The change in that 45 years has been insane. I mean, literally when I started, it was like, oh, what are you doing? Well, I got this job on my financial planner. And they're like, what is that? What is that? What does that even mean? Remember, it's 1981.
Encontré esto en
Right?
internet para...
So in 1981, when I started, no cell phones. I know, hard to believe, kids, right? No cell phones, no email, no Adobe PDFs, because there were no computers to develop an Adobe PDF. There was no Federal Express, no FedEx. Here's a crazy one. And this is almost a dead technology now, but no fax machines. I started working pre-fax machines. That's how old I am, decrepit, right? So, and that's just in 45 years. That's just in my professional career. I can't imagine what it's going to be like for the kids 45 years from now. I mean, right? Crazy. So a lot has changed in those 45 years, but the basics, the boring basics that work, and they're boring, but they're the basics. They haven't changed at all. This basically, other than techie stuff and some of the numbers, this is the same presentation I was doing not 45 years ago, but like 35 years ago when I started teaching a financial planning of marriage. I developed a pre-Cana class because there's a lot of things in the Catholic Church pre-Cana program, and you're talking about a lot of wonderful things like we just talked about, health and faith in God, but everybody shies away from money. Money's a funny thing. You can live next to your neighbor for 45 years. You will know everything about that family, about what happens after the husband or wife goes to work, what the kids are doing, who they're dating, all the dirt. They'll come over, have a cup of coffee, and spill their guts about the most intimate things with you. But they'll never talk about money. Ever. It's like this silent thing that I don't want to talk about. All right? So that hasn't changed at all. It's still the same. People will put the craziest things on their Instagram feed or their Facebook feed, but usually it doesn't include anything about them and their money. It's silent. All right? So you all got a pen. Take out, we're going to run through this thing. It's 33 pages long, and I'm going to blast through it. I am not reading all of this to you. A lot of this is all this stuff in this kit, I'm going to use a lot of it, but a lot of it is backup support definitions. You're going to be able to look at it on your own after the fact. But take out your pen, write these down, right on the front cover, write them down, and I'm going to give you more detail on all of these over the course of the next 15, 20 minutes, right? All right, so here's all you need to do to be successful financially. Boring, easy, boring, right? One, you gotta set goals. You gotta set goals. Basically, you have to answer the question, what do I wanna be when I grow up someday? What do you wanna be when you grow up someday? And that includes if you're 65 or 67 years old and ready to retire. Okay, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the 27-year-old who comes in office. All right, you're going to retire. What do you want to be when you grow up someday? You have to define your goals and objectives, because if you don't know where you're going, it'll be a miracle if you ever get there. okay? It's a miracle if you get there if you don't know where you're going. All right, so that's step number one, goals and objectives. Number 2, self-inventory. We do that all the time. It's what you do in a 12-step program. That's what you do in a mental health plan. You gotta take an inventory, right? It's a lot harder when you're doing a self-inventory for physical fitness or mental health or even your relationship with God or your faith. It's not that hard financially. A lot of it is just math. The beautiful thing about math is 1 + 1 always equals 2. All right, I like math. Right, math is good, right? So you got to take a self-inventory, and that usually starts. We're going to run through this with this book. This is my gift to you. Okay, this is where every financial plan at Wagner Financial starts. The client fills this out, and then we sit down together, and there's lots of spaces in green where the intake person, me or Justin, makes our notes on that client. All right. But this is the self-inventory, right? Which results in creating a balance sheet. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Number 3, discipline. Put that on the screen. Discipline. Okay? Right? But you got to have it, right? Number 4, this is the cancer. All right? You got to fight the cancer of credit cards. It's a cancer. All right, it's a day-to-day battle. It's like, not today, Satan. Okay, not today. All right, fight the cancer of credit cards. And as hard as it was 40 years ago for me and my family and my friends and my clients, it is a lot harder today. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have Temu and Instagram feeds. The smartest, most educated PhDs on brain science don't work in the university setting anymore. We know where they work. They work at Google. They work at Facebook. They work at Apple. That cell phone, that's a really powerful machine, and they know exactly how to manipulate the whole dopamine and the response cycle, right? So it's hard. It's really hard, but you got to fight it every day. This is a brutal consumer economy, and you're constantly bombarded with that messaging. You almost want to put a sign in your bedroom when you wake up in the morning, like, I'm not going to buy stuff today. Good, and you still will. And we have to buy stuff to survive, right? It's a constant bombardment and messaging. Number 5, tithe to yourself. Right? Pay yourself. If you have a 401k plan at work or you set up automatic investment, you have to tithe to yourself. If you tithe to your church, you tithe to yourself, right? That's part of the discipline. And finally, number 6, which I always thought was just a given, but in the current environment, it's getting a little bit harder, especially for young folks, to have complete and utter faith in the free market system and capitalism. If you want to be truly independent financially in the United States of America, it's pretty hard to do it if you don't have full faith and confidence in capitalism and the free markets. We're going to come back to that. There's a piece in there called the big picture. All right. Anyway, this is where we're going to start, right here. So hopefully you wrote those 6 things down, right? They were set goals, self-inventory, discipline, fight the cancer of credit cards, tithe to yourself, faith in capitalism and the free markets. All right. What is financial planning? So we all have cell phones, we all have television, we have Hulu, we have all this stuff, and we're bombarded with messaging, not only to buy consumer goods, but also to buy financial products and services, right? We've seen Fidelity in the green line, right? You know, when I started out, like I said, financial planning was like, what is that? What does that even mean? Well, the major firms, I call them the manufacturers, right? The Schwabs, the Fidelities, the Merrill Lynches, right? They're no different than Coca-Cola and Pepsi. But instead of producing cans of Coke, they produce financial services for us as consumers to consume. That's what we do. We consume financial products and services. So they're manufacturers. Fidelity likes to say that they're providing financial planning, but it's financial planning as a tool to sell the product that they manufacture. Mutual funds, stocks, bonds, trading systems, so forth and so on, right? So you got Fidelity ads, you got Schwab commercials, you got Robinhood on your Instagram feed, you got Coinbase on Facebook, all that stuff, right? And rarely do you actually see them defining what financial planning is. Here's the definition, all right? You might want to write this one down. The systematic / conscious management of your everyday money decisions. It's the systematic management of your everyday money decisions. Now, some of those are really simple, like, should I go to Starbucks for the $12 latte, or should I go maybe just make a cup of coffee at home? Those are the two extremes. In the middle is like Dunkin' Donuts down the street for like $2. You know, you could somewhere in between. Every once in a while, treat yourself to the latte. But you know, the $10 or $12 latte plus the custom sandwich every day, that's like a $20 bill. I'm going to show you in a little bit on a compound interest table what $20 a day times, not even like 5 days a week, your work days, times 52 weeks in the year, times 45. Yeah, I got that. That's called gravity. That's another very powerful force in the universe. Gravity, time, and compound interest. Those are the big three. All right. So we're going to take a look at that. So my definition of financial planning is the systematic management of your everyday money decisions. Some very simple. Should I buy this latte today? Some very complicated, like, oh, I'm getting my wills redone, and should I have an irrevocable trust in my estate planning here in the state of New Jersey, right? And then everything in between. All right. Everybody in this room has a financial plan. We all have one. Now mine is very conscious, right? Systematic management, it's what I do, all right? But even if you don't have a written financial plan, oh, you have one, and you're fulfilling it every day in your actions, right? You either have a conscious plan or an unconscious plan, but you got it. We all got one, all right? And at 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, you'll be able to look back and say, that was a great plan. Not so good. I should have made some changes. So financial planning is really is money and everything that has just even brushes up against money. Cash flow and budgeting, estate planning, which is a fancy way for saying what happens when I die, right? Estate planning, investment planning, which the firms, the Fidelities, the Schwabs, the Merrill Lynch, they tend to think that's what financial planning is about. Investments. And it's the fun, sexy part, right? That's the fun part. Everyone likes to talk about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and how AI stocks are going up, and which one's going to be the next winner, and Musk is going to take SpaceX on an IPO. Ooh, that's fun. Let's talk about that. That's great. Let's have a glass of Brunello de Montalcino, and let's talk about Musk and SpaceX. That's fun. It's like just the third part of 6. Cash flow and budgeting is probably the single most important one. And it's the hardest one. That's the heavy lift. Estate planning, investment planning, income taxes, right? Risk management, fancy word for all the different insurances, health insurance, life insurance, disability. A new thing that our grandparents and before never had to worry about, long-term care. Nobody had to worry about funding a nursing home. You died. By 70, everyone was dead. Anybody been to a wake lately where someone was 70 years old? People are crying like the dead person was a teenager. Oh, he died so young. When I was growing up, 70 was old. 70 ain't that old. I'm right there. I'm a couple years away, right? I think today you got to be 90 plus for everyone to be happy, and they're like high-fiving and talking about where they're going to have a drink after the wake. You got to be 90 plus for everyone to go, that was a good run. You die at 70, you'd think it was a 15-year-old kid in a car accident who's dead, the way they're crying, right? So, and the last thing was taxes, right? So, cash flow and budgeting, estate planning, investments, risk management, taxes, right? And then you can make a sixth one called other, which is like, how do I put my, how am I gonna pay for college? I mean, education costs is just so ridiculous now, right? So there's lots of new techniques and ideas about that. All right, where do we start? So we already went through it. You got your thing. Establish goals, take the inventory, data gathering, we got our questionnaire. Then you create your plan, whether you're doing it on your own, you have the help of a financial planner. You then implement the plan, which is kind of hard. I don't know if any of you work like for big Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 type companies, but I can't tell you how many times I've been on a committee and people come up with great ideas and they have this wonderful report that's put together that they're going to present to the board of all these actions that should be taken to make our business more profitable and more efficient. And everyone goes, that was a great job. They retire for drinks and coffee. And it sits there and it never gets implemented. It's no damn good if it never gets implemented. It's just a bunch of ideas and words on a piece of paper. So establish goals, you do your inventory, you create the plan, you implement the plan, and then you monitor it and review it on an ongoing basis. And usually what happens is you cycle back to the beginning again, because you're going to start accomplishing some of those goals and objectives. So you're going to change them, you're going to modify them, you're going to increase them. So, I wanted to retire at 67. Looks like maybe I can do it at 62 because I've done such a great job. All right, so all of that results, our mission statement in our office is helping clients achieve their life goals with a sense of security. Nothing in there about like beat the S&P 500, right? Or, create millionaires. No, help you achieve your life goals, whatever they are. Unfortunately, usually life goals in America in the year 2026 need this. Usually, all right, unfortunately, but that's the world we live in. Achieve your life goals with a sense of security. All right, the goals and inventory are your job. Then we start putting in the numbers. So the handout, the very first page on the handout here says personal net worth. See that? All right, that's called a balance sheet, a statement of net worth. This is, as Justin, who is a baseball player, always likes to call this the scorecard. You can't keep track of the game without your scorecard, right? This is your scorecard. Turn to the next page, all right? So this is kind of a roughed out balance sheet. Today we do it on Excel and it does the math for us. And after, when Wayne comes into my office, after the small talk of how's Kaiser, how's Jaeger, how's life, what's going on, how old is the Volvo that you're driving, or what, is he still driving a Volvo? Yeah, that's close. He used to have he would never drive a car that was like less than 10 years old. So that was his thing. That was his. Right. So anyway, this is taking the inventory. The data that's in this questionnaire then gets put on Excel, and you create your scorecard. After the small talk, the first thing we do at the annual reviews, we update the numbers. How we doing? Sometimes people are like this, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I can hardly wait. I did a great job, right? So on the left side, under that column of assets, bank accounts, savings accounts, checking accounts, etc. Right? You have a retirement plan at work. You have an IRA. Maybe you own a home. Right? You own some cars. You got a baseball card collection with like a Mickey Mantle rookie card in there. Whatever. You list all your assets. On the left-hand side, we like lots of numbers and commas. We love commas. Under this line that says assets. Commas good. Where are commas bad? On the right-hand side, liabilities. You know what we love to see on liabilities? A series of zeros. Zeros good, commas bad. right, on the liability side. But we all have them. You own a home, you got a mortgage. Might have a home equity line on top of the mortgage. Got student loans, a curse, but they're there, right? Got credit cards. That's the cancer, okay? So, we've met people with, we'll talk about that in a minute, I don't want to go. So, we all have liabilities, right? We have car loans, right? So you add up your assets, you add up your liabilities, you subtract liabilities from assets, and what does it give you? Your net worth, okay? For some of you in this room, that number is going to be a negative number, especially if you're young with a lot of student loans. Welcome to the club. You're not unique, right? Right? It used to be unique, 50 years ago, but not today. The world's changed really pretty quick, right? But this is where it starts. And sometimes it's a really painful exercise. Like, and this is why we don't do it. You kind of know it in the back of your head, but you never really put it down on paper. This is the taking of the inventory, right? Taking inventory can be painful, whether it's financial or physical or mental, right? Being honest with yourself. The good news about financial planning is it's easy to be honest with yourself. It's hard to fool yourself because it's math, right? You just put the numbers down, do the math, you get your answer. All right, keep going. Couple pages here on net worth. All right. Have I beat it into the ground yet about cancer of credit cards? Right? Did I mention it yet? Did I mention it once yet? All right. So, yes, managing your debt. It's insane. And it's not just us. Ever heard of Tom Petty? Ever heard of MC Hammer? Ever heard of Little Kim? You ever heard of 50 Cent? No, some of these, I've heard of them, I have no idea what their music is, some of them, right? Tom Petty I do, because I'm an old white guy, right? So, Willie Nelson, Nicolas Cage, how about some more old white guys, all right?
The Andrews sisters.
The Andrews sisters, well, I don't think they, all these people have one thing in common. They all declare bankruptcy, all right? Sinbad, Michael Vick, right? And I don't know, I don't think I have enough fingers on this hand to count the number of Real Housewives that have, right? Just the Real Housewives of New Jersey were like 3, right? So, and then the king of them all, 400 million in earnings. Mike Tyson. Tyson, 400 million. How the hell do you blow through 400 million? You know how? You spend 405 million.
Right.
It's just math. It's just math. That's the only way you can do it. If you make 400 million, and you don't have, and that's not enough for you, it means you spent more than you had. That's insane. That's crazy, but it happens. All right. So day to day, hand to hand, literally hand to hand combat. It's like, it used to be pretty easy because it was cash and your credit card. Right? You say, oh, I'm just going to not bring my credit card and I'm just going to pay cash. Anybody been to a Giants or a Jets game or any event at the Meadowlands lately? At Met? They have reverse ATM. Am I right? You go up and you go, I want to buy 3 beers. And that's crazy. Or I want to buy 4 beers. And you give the guy a $100 bill. First of all, he's like, well, we don't take cash. I mean, what do you mean? No, you got to take your cash and go over to that machine, or you put money in. It used to be you put your card in, they give you money. Now you put money in, and they give you a chip. They give you like a Visa card, and you go back and buy your beer. And then the guy says, oh, and the 100 isn't enough for 4 beers. You're going to need a little more. 4 beers. Okay? Right? So that's our crazy world. Right? So it's really hard because you can't put away your credit card. Right? And then there's the online stuff. Like, Mrs. Bodner's not here. Wayne knows Mrs. Bodner. But Mrs. Bodner, truth be told, do not let her see this video. She has an Amazon addiction. There's no doubt. She happens to have a husband who's got enough money to. I'm an enabler. I'm an enabler, but she also has 5 grandsons. That's a bad combination. Credit card, an iPhone with Amazon, an Amazon account, and 5 grandsons. All right? So this is hard. It's harder than ever before in the history of the planet. This generation, all of us, the humans who are on the planet today are facing stuff, different S word, I usually use a different S word, but they're facing stuff that no Homo sapien in the history, 300,000 years of Homo sapiens on the planet, nobody's faced this before. We are unique in that sense. You know, the caveman didn't say, damn it, you shouldn't have bought those rocks, right? Oh. They had a lot of stresses. They had to worry about turning the corner and the saber-toothed tiger got them. And that's how our brains are wired. Remember, our brains are not wired to fight the dopamine rush that buying something on Amazon gives us as humans. Our brains are wired for making sure that we survive going down to the river to get water and bringing it back to our cave. That's what we're built for. Maybe 100,000, 50,000 years from now, right? Our brains will have developed a method to fight the loop that the PhDs have figured out that give us the rush. It's like a gambling addiction. In fact, it is a gambling. It's the same dopamine rush, right? So, I talked. The PhDs are leaving university settings, they're working for the big companies, right? They know that our brains operate on like this reward stress system. You just got to be aware of it. It's not going to be 100% successful, but not today's Satan, right? So enough on the dopamine anticipation loop, right? They're out there figuring out ways to hijack our brains, okay? So we got to fight it every day. All right, next page, page 8. Checking so as part of fighting the cancer of credit cards, you should also apply for your free credit report, right? Young kids, young folks are, if you Google it, right, they're the #1 demographic for identity theft. They get hacked more than anybody else for a couple of reasons. One, they're fearless. They're swiping, right? Like it's them. And then the big money target are the grandmas and grandpas, right? Because that's where the money is too. But in terms of who gets hacked more often, it's definitely young folks. So you should run your credit report. It's free. In fact, you get 3 a year if you really wanted to, because there's the 3 major credit reporting agencies. I think I have them listed here. But on the next page, on page 9, there's free annual credit report, but you're entitled to 1 from each of the companies. So if you wanted to run one every 3 or 4 months on yourself, go right ahead. You just got to use a different company. In your kits is this little sleeve. Anybody had any friends who's, the great thing about the new credit cards, right, is that chip that's in there, right? That's really good. You know what's really bad about the new credit cards? That chip that's in there. Okay? Same with our passports when we travel overseas. All right? That chip is, it emits. Right? That's how it works. All right? So smart people with a piece of technology and going on the internet and learning how to turn the wires around. Some of us old timers might remember folks that used to monitor the police and the fire on the little monitor. Remember that little piece of that like radio monitor? You could hear what the cops and the firemen and everyone was saying. You can take one of those, modify it, go into a club, and if I'm standing next to this pocketbook like this, I can get her credit card information, just like this. You're going to take your credit card and you're going to put it inside this thing. Because now you take your credit card out, you buy your gas or whatever you're going to buy, and you put it back in, boogeyman can't get it. Especially if you're a young person and you're going to a bar or a club. that is just party time for the bad guys, the boogeyman. All right, so this is another little gift to you. And you can read this piece about ID protection. All right, keep going, keep going. How much time I got? All right. All right. I got no. All right. Turn to the one about the perfect investment. All right. Here is so now we're gonna move into like the fun, sexy part, right? Investment. Ooh, now he's gonna tell me what to buy and I'll get rich. All right. Here's the perfect investment. See it in the middle of the page here. It says high rate of return. Yeah, this perfect investment makes 15% a year. And it's completely safe. You can never lose money. You earn 15% like it's a CD in the 1970s. All right? And yes, CD rates were 15% in the 1970s. Why? It's crazy. All right? So you get 15%. You can never lose money. It's completely safe. It's completely liquid. You don't even have to tie it up. It's not even a CD. It's a money market account. And a dollar is always a dollar, and you earn 15%. And you can get money and add money whenever you want. And this is why it's perfect. You don't pay any income tax. There's no income tax. Holy crap. And you can be a complete moron novice. You need no knowledge, no special skills to do it. Now, am I missing anything for the perfect investment? Right? That's it, right? That's pretty much it. Get real. It doesn't exist. It's impossible. If anyone even tells you anything close to that, they're a charlatan, a con man. It's a scam. It's Timu on your Instagram feed. Right? It's fantasy world. It can't be. You might be able to get one or two, like two of those maybe, but there's no way you're going to get all. Right? So the perfect investment doesn't exist. What does exist, possibly, is something close. I couldn't use the word perfect, but like the ultimate investment portfolio. Like you can take different pieces and put it together and create like an investment portfolio stew. Or Dr. Wayne makes a great chili, right? Lots of ingredients in chili. Stew, lots of it. It's like jambalaya. I mean, you're adding, and everyone's got their own like magic formula to it, right? Right? So that's how investment planning is. There's no perfect investment. But maybe consciously putting the different pieces together, you can make the perfect stew, right? This pyramid, right? We could spend a whole day, we could spend 8 hours on this, all right? This is it, all right? We're not. We're going to spend like 3 minutes, right? So this is the classic pyramid of investments. On the base is all the safe stuff, right? You got, money markets and savings accounts. What else they got on? T-bills, fixed annuities. Things where a dollar is always a dollar, and you just earn interest. My grandfather, when he died and we cleaned out his house, crazy old Ukrainian, and it was like, don't throw any cans out. Every can must be open. Because the crazy Russian, Ukrainian used to like take money and put them in like a paint can in the basement. Couldn't throw it away. That didn't even earn interest. But, that generation was so paranoid about the next Great Depression that they stashed, and they didn't even trust the banks. And cash in the house, right? Cash and gold coins. So you couldn't throw away any coffee can, or everything had to get open. And we found money. Me and my cousins, we all found money, right? So that's what's on the bottom. That's the foundation. That's the safe stuff, right? And then you start moving up to conservative, growth, and speculative. And as you move in this direction, up the pyramid, right? In the traditional sense of risk, you are increasing your risk, meaning, now it's not guaranteed day to day. Oh, now it's more speculative. Oh, I want to drill an oil well. You might lose it all in that. It might be dry. All right? So as you move up, the pyramid gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and you have more traditional, what I would refer to as volatility. And we got to define the difference between risk and volatility. For me, risk is the potential to lose your money permanently. It's like making a loan to your brother. It's not a loan. You know it's not a loan. It's a gift. Right? It's a gift. And if you ever get any of it back, it's a gift. He said it was a loan, but he's not going to pay. You know he's not paying you back. He knows you're not paying you back. Right? So that is a permanent loss of principal. Right? You lost money. And that happens in event. Company, you can buy stock in a company, and companies go bankrupt. Go bankrupt all the time. Right? And there's going to be more. That's the creative destruction of capitalism. If you own a barn with horses and you were and your brother manufactured saddles at the turn of the last century, this guy Henry Ford came along and put you out of business. Bye-bye horses. The guys who used to shovel up the horse crap on the road, they lost their jobs. We got to outlaw those cars. People are losing their jobs. Sound familiar? Sound familiar to what's going on? It's been going on for centuries. New technology, everybody, you're going to lose jobs. But there's going to be new jobs created. Right? It happens. That's the creative. And companies go out of business. Anybody ever heard of Bell Labs? Only the greatest invention factory in the world since Thomas Edison, right? Right? They ran it into the ground. How do you destroy Bell Labs? This is living in the Italian town coming out. How do you destroy it? But they did it. They did it. They figured out a way to do it. So we need to make the distinction between the permanent loss of capital, bad, versus volatility. Now, Friday, Dell, a lot of us here probably, this might even be a Dell, this is an HP. Dell computers went up $100 in one day. 30%. It was a $300 and something stock, now it's a $400 stock. One day. That's volatile. Now, if something can go up $100 in one day, guess what? What else can happen? It can go down $100 in one day. Now, will it go out of business? Maybe if it's run by people that ran Bell Labs, it could. But odds are, that's just daily fluctuations, weekly, monthly, year. There are years where the stock market goes down. And there's years where it goes up. And there's years where it goes up a lot, and years where it goes down a lot. But the trend line over history, if you go on the right side of your kit, and there's a page about this. All right? I don't have time to go through it, and I'm going to stick around for food if you want to ask me some questions, but this is the onward inevitable advance of capitalism over the course of the last 100 years or so. Does anyone see a trend? It goes up. I tell folks in my office, oh, you worried about the stock market? Shouldn't be. Stock market always goes up. Always. 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 It just doesn't go up every day, every week, every month, even every year. But it always goes up. I hear people come and say, yeah, well, my brother lost it all in the crash. I go, which one? It happens all the time. They're like buses. They come by all the time on a pretty regular schedule. Okay, some are bigger than others. But how did he lose all his money? He said, well, it was in a crash. He lost it all. I go, we just hit an all-time high. 51,000 on the Dow. So how did he, if I'm at an all-time high, how did he lose his money? Oh, he sold. He sold it. He got worried. Human nature. Back to the caveman. Okay? Back to the caveman. Remember, our brains are wired for what? To avoid pain and don't get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. There is no saber-toothed tiger. It's the onward inevitable advance of capitalism across the countryside, across the world. It was called globalization. Okay? Right? There is no saber-toothed tiger. But our brains tell us, warning, warning, get out, save yourself while you can. No. In reality, what should you have done? What should the brother have done? Not got out. What? Should have bought more. In because remember, if you take your hand and put it over, like any of those parts where it goes down, there's no facts about the future. Nobody knows that, like in 1987, from 1987, the crash, to 2026, the line's gonna look like that, and you would have been a multi-gazillionaire if you had invested, right? There's no facts about the future. That was Harry Truman, right? But I think you can interpolate from this that you don't sell. If you have, you definitely hold, and if you have some money, you buy. All right? All right. I'm going to be getting the yang. So, but the takeaway on here is there's risk in this direction, okay? But there's also risk in this direction. Someone says, I don't want to do any of that stuff that Bob was talking about, stocks, about. I'm just going to leave it all down here on the bottom thing. There's risk in this direction too, right? Because that means inflation and purchasing power is beating the crap out of you. 25, 30 years later, when you go to retire and you need that money, you're not going to have $1 million. You're going to have 300,000, and 300,000 ain't what it used to be. All right. So we'll wrap it up here with my favorite page on the whole thing. All right. And you're flipping through here. There's retirement plan. We kind of talked about that. That's a brand new thing. Again, 300,000 years, Homo sapiens. No one did a retirement plan. Everyone was dead. Nobody ran out of money. You worked like a dog. You got a job at 15 to 18 years old. You worked like a dog until 65. Why was that a magic number? Your body started to break down. Couldn't work. Your boss said, hey, you're not doing that good of a job because you're old. Here's the watch. Here's a 6-pack of Budweiser. Go home and sit on the front steps. Right? And try to live out the last days of your life as good as you can. Right? And then they died. Nobody ran out of money. There were outliers. There's always been the old, but not like it is today. I think this is a whole new area for humans to worry about, right? A lot of people today live in retirement longer than they worked. That never happened for 300,000 years. This is all new. You see average life expectancy on here, right? The first person to live 150 years old is alive today. I don't know who they are, but I'm telling you, they're alive today. Might be one of my grandsons. But that's the way the world, like who would have thought that everyone's 100? 100 is, I got the old Today Show, the weather guy, what was his name? He had not Al Roker, the guy before him, Wilford or something. They used to have to go out and search, like, oh, so-and-so in Fairfield, Iowa is 100 years old today. They had to go out and find that person. Now it's a lottery to pick the name. They have so many names. It's crazy, right? All right, go to the page, and this is it. Wayne said I had 5 minutes, and that was 10 minutes ago. All right, accumulating $1 million. This is my favorite page. This is my favorite page, especially for the youngins. This one blows my mind every time I do it. And it makes me so jealous of people who have dark hair like Justin. So jealous. Because the two most powerful forces in financial planning are compound interest and time. Time is kind of like gravity, you could say. Time. Compound interest and time. All right. So look at this chart. So if someone said, I am 25 years old, I have 40 years, so the last line, right? 25-year-old, they have 40 years. They're like, I don't want to invest in stocks. I'm going to put it all in bonds or in cash, and I'm going to earn 3% on my money, and I'm going to be happy with that. All right, I'm going to do my daily yoga and my breathing exercise, and I'm just going to be happy with 3%. Okay. Then you got to put away 1,000. Everybody see that one on the last line? 1,080. So you better come up with 1,080 a month. Put it away for 40 years, and you'll have $1 million. Now go to the far right. That chart, the big picture on the legal page, if you look real closely at it, you'll see that the S&P 500, granted, the last couple of years it's been up 25, 30, crazy numbers, but there'll be another bear market. There will be a bear market someday. And the average long-term is 10. Actually, it's 10.3, right? So stocks, the S&P 500, not even like if you're Warren Buffett or something. You just buy the boring S&P 500 index fund, 10.3, all right? Can you tell me what that line in the lower right-hand, what that number is in the lower right-hand corner? What's that say? What's that say in the corner? What's that number?
158.
158. Who here can blow $158 on a Friday night? If Mrs. Bodner was here, she'd be on her butt, and all her two legs and her hands would be up. Wayne has seen me on a Friday night blow $158 easy, just walking into the place. Okay? 150. Now, even crazier, right? I'm talking about the, so this is it. It's all coming together. I started making fun of the $7.50 latte. All right. If you take $7.50 a day, the latte, you multiply by 20 work days in a month, right? Because there's 7 days, but we only work 1. It's a work day. Weekend, you go out and get the latte. But the 5 days, $7.50 times 20 work days a month, you know what it works out to?
$150.
$150. So you got to dig in for another $8. You got $1 million.
Well, if you don't get the specialty sandwich.
Oh, they got $2 million. And you'll need $2 million because $1 million ain't what it used to be.
Yeah.
All right, but it's better to have it than not to have it, right? But that's another whole discussion. So that's my start for you. All right, this is your financial part of your mind-body linkage thing, and which I absolutely love, and I'm sure if Wayne wants me to, I can make the drive down the turnpike and we'll do it again. We'll do an encore, and we'll dig down and drill down a little deeper. All right, we good?
Thank you. So informative, and what an amazing explanation of how it impacts this incredible, significant domain of our well-being. So thank you so much. All right, we're going to move right along.
Let's get a dopamine hit. Let's go.
To Dr. Wayne. He is going to talk about the physical domain and how that impacts our well-being. So let's welcome Dr. Wayne. He's our first speaker. Very cool. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. Actually, it's afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to keep this tight because we lied to you. We said it was going to be an hour. We're running a little bit late, but we'll tighten it up. So, really, what I wanted to talk about was how we start our day and how we end our day. That's it. Just little stuff like that. Because we always wonder, how does our day get away from us? How are we so disorganized, distracted, unhappy? And people smarter than I studied what makes people happy, what makes people content in a day. Simple things we could do with our day that required no money, no real money, but just changes in habits. So I'm going to go over the morning routines that we can adapt, the evening, the end of our day routines that we can adapt. So number one, the one thing I struggle with my patients is waking up early. Number one, waking up early. Number two, almost more importantly, choosing a time and waking up the same time every day. Lifelong insomniac, I actually had to, through the VA, take a course in how to sleep. That's how bad I was. So they enrolled me in this special study. Best thing I ever did. So years ago, I selected a time. I happened to select 5 a.m. My phone is set for 5 a.m. It never changes. I get up at 5. What about Tuesdays? 5 a.m. What about Christmas morning? 5 a.m. There's no such thing as sleeping in. If you sleep in, you just create a jet lag, actual jet lag. Oh, I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to catch up on my sleep. No. Feels great that morning. Oh my God, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I know people. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're waking up. Sun's going down in the winter. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But I feel great today. Oh, it's so good. So good to catch up. Now what? Now Monday morning comes. You can't sleep till 2 p. You got to get up at 7, 6. Crazy. If anybody's ever flown to Europe or flown to California, you crush yourself. You're taking medication, you're taking melatonin, you're taking Ambien to fly to California. Why are you doing it? Why are you building that into your lives? So the most important thing, though, if you're going to do one thing with sleep, pick a time to wake up. Now, what time you go to bed, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and say, going to bed. Just the time you go to bed, not as important. It's important. You should pick a time to sleep at night. But the way I do it is, if I want to play at night, I pay in the morning. I still wake up at 5. It kills me, but I still wake up at 5 because there's the true disruptor is the what time you wake up. So I try. So I tell everyone in my circle, don't call me after 8 p. Don't. If you're calling me, it's an emergency. Don't go, oh, hey, can you wait 20 minutes? No. I am really inflexible with that, just because I know how much it hurts me. And then it affects my day, and it affects how I interact with patients. It's too important. And it has changed my life. So, as you can tell, I'm a little bit passionate about that. It didn't cost me anything to just correct my wake up and sleep times. So, we can talk more about that, but I wanted to stay true to my word and rock on. So, waking up in the morning at my 5A. So, what am I doing? Catching that early morning sunlight. The data is incredible with getting that first sun. How much sun? Minimum 15 minutes of sun in the morning. Really makes a difference. Get that sun. It even counts if you're driving in the car. You'll get it through your windshield, but get that morning sun. Sometimes I like to grab a cup of coffee if I can. Just stand out in the sunrise. First of all, man, is that a great? John talked about dopamine hits. Watch that sunrise and think about nothing but that delicious cup of coffee. That's a little bit just for me. We talk about self-care. What's self-care? To just stand, just greet the morning. Okay, next. And again, anybody wants to talk about this after, I'll be happy to. Stretching. Move a little bit. Take a 10-15 minute walk. You could do that. You could double dip. Get your morning sun and take a walk. Just walk. Or stretch outside. Or do a little 15-minute yoga routine. You don't have 15 minutes? You're a liar. You got 15 minutes. And it's free on YouTube. You can get great 15-minute yoga videos. Free. I like free. And you can also bond with somebody in your life, either your spouse or your child. All right, next thing. Spend a few minutes, they call it getting metaphysical. That is, pray, do deep breathing, meditate, just sort of set your day. Do some positive feedback. Stare in the mirror. I used to laugh at this concept of looking at yourself in the mirror and just saying something good about yourself. You're going to have a great day today. Smile at yourself. I mean, this all sounds fuzzy and weak. I used to think that. But I tried it when I had some darker times. And I tried it. It actually works. Because if you tell yourself this is going to be a great day, nothing bad's going to happen. Stuff's going to happen. But if you tell yourself today's going to stink, it will. It will. Smile. Great data on smiling, just smiling for no reason. Being positive sets the tone for the day. The next one, they call it the magic bean. Okay? Coffee, energy drink, come on, the $9, John talked about the $9, Panera Bread, the one that killed that girl, the $9 energy substance, that great, fantastic data on wait minimum 90 minutes before you have your first caffeine or nicotine. I know for my nicotine people, that's even worse. but wait 90 minutes. Because, why? You have your receptors that receive that caffeine are flooded. And you want the caffeine to come in and actually disrupt that. Knock the thing that's making you sleep off and wake you up and have that caffeine work, be effective. So I even go try 2-3 hours. It's gotten easier. I started doing this about 6 months ago. It was hard. But the caffeine works so much more, and I drink a lot less of it. I used to struggle out of bed and make my coffee and be drinking it within 5 minutes. Don't do that anymore. Watch your amount of coffee. And we'll talk about your last cup of coffee at the end of the day. And I see these people 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon drinking coffee. Yeah, because you go, I got one more patient that I didn't know I was going to have. Yeah, it's going to disrupt your sleep. Unless you're a magic sleeper. I don't know anybody who is. Next thing in the morning, fuel. All right, people skip breakfast. They're trying to do that intermittent fasting. They're grumpy and miserable. They don't eat till 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Not good for you. Great data. And don't buy the bear claw at the no bear claw. No. Sugar's awesome. I love sugar. I love fat. But protein's where it's at. Your choice. Good lean meats, nuts, yogurt, Greek yogurt, my favorite. They're saying 30, 40 grams in the morning to fuel yourself up. Sometimes that's a big load for a lot of people who don't nurse it through the morning, but get it started. All right. So why? It's going to change your mood. It's going to provide fuel for the day. Also, it's going to provide us with tryptophan, which is going to stimulate serotonin release. And we need our serotonin. We all know that. Okay. Next. Last for the day is in the early part of your day, if you can, do all your front load all your creative stuff. If you've got to write, if you've got a plan, all right, if you've got to create something, problem solve, do that earlier in the day. Again, I'm a data person. Early in the day is where you're going to see your bennies. You know, you get to the 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, not optimal to problem solve. All right? So that's our day. Now we're going to get to our evening protocol. Okay, last meal. This is hard for me because I'm running, and I go, I haven't eaten much, and now I'm starting to get hungry, and now I'm starting to crave stuff. And I want a sweet. I want a crunchy. Oh, now I want a salty, and I'll have a little bit of that, and then I go and I lay down at night, and I feel horrible. I have bad dreams. I can't fall asleep. I get heartburn. All these bad things happen to me, and it gets worse as you get older. But I try now. They say 6 o'clock, but we all go to bed at a different time. We all know Little Wayne's going to bed at 8 o'clock, right? So 6 o'clock is way too late for me. I really should be wrapping up my last meal at 4, and it should be a light meal. So I try to have a medium meal for breakfast, somewhat larger, heavier meal at lunch. So and sometimes, and I gotta trick myself, I plan. So I have maybe a mid-late afternoon meal on my way home if I have a long drive. So when I get home, I'm not eating much. I'm having yogurt and maybe some nuts, and that's it. All right, and a moderate amount of water. I like water. I don't know why, I like my water. Okay, also, when we talk about coffee, if you love coffee, I don't even recommend decaf because they do all kinds of funky things to decaf. No coffee if you can. After, I would say, my last coffee, I've had mine already. I have my last coffee at 7 in the morning. I don't need it. I'd rather take a 10-15 minute power nap. We can talk about that more. 2 hours is not a nap. 2 hours is sleeping. 10-15 minutes. I wait for one sleep cycle. I nap. I don't get too comfy. All right? I don't get my whoopee out. I just catch a 10-15 minute power nap, better than any coffee you're ever going to have. Watch the smoke. I don't encourage vaping. I don't encourage those dips. I know there's nicotine in every iteration. Nicotine is a stimulant. If you gotta do it, I'd rather see you do the Zyn dip than smoke or vape. Bad. But even then, knock it off early. Consider it a stimulant, and it's gonna disturb your sleep. And no sugars at night. Tori made this nice piece of cake, or she brought some chocolate. No. Sugar at night is gonna disturb. Sugar in general, we've learned, is bad. You're gonna have to eat it. Marry it with a fat so the absorption is slowed down. But if you're gonna eat it, you really only need this much. You don't need to eat a box of chocolate at night. You don't need to eat a box of chocolate ever, really. But it's gonna cause bad blood sugar cycles. Okay, at night, if you can, go for a 10-15 minute walk. Again, what does it do for you? It's gonna help you digest that food. It's gonna lower your blood sugar. And you get to spend maybe 10-15 minutes recapping the day with somebody you care about. And you'll also get to see the sunset. I know, here we go, get drippy again, but you get to see the sunset, and it's gonna tell your body it's time for bed. This goes back to the caveman that John was talking about. We live on primal cycles, where just because we have technology doesn't mean anything. Also, at night, I know we're a society that we're taking Ambien, we're taking Trazodone, we're taking all kinds of things. We're taking Z-Quil across the street that we buy from the CVS. If you need something, there are things you can take. I can provide these for you. L-theanine, love it. Magnesium threonate, apigenin, which is the active ingredient in, chamomile, ashwagandha. And of course, we learned over COVID, we're vitamin D deficient. A little bit of vitamin D, really good. Mega doses of vitamin D, not good. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. A little bit goes a long way. Unless you have an absorption problem, you don't need more than 1,000 international units a day. Okay, phone across the room. Everybody goes to bed with their phone. Why? Because I'm gonna scroll, I'm gonna relax, and I'm gonna scroll. I'm gonna check my Instagram account, I'm gonna check this, I'm gonna check that. It's all stimulating you, and it's giving you blue light. Best thing I ever did was plug my phone. They recommend putting your phone outside of the room. I keep my phone inside the room, but it's across the room charging. All right, I take a book to bed with me. I always have a book going. They even allow you to have a tablet, because those tablets are not blue light. That is the Kindles. Kindles are not blue light, and we're trying to avoid that. So you want soft light when you're reading, and read something philosophical. Don't go reading a scary Stephen King novel, wondering why you can't sleep. Try to read something that's going to nourish your mind. All right, even if you advance it a couple pages. Let's see, what else we got? Sleep time, 6.5 hours. Everybody's unique. There is nobody who can exist in the long run on 5 hours. No one. They've done studies. You exist poorly with 5 hours. 6.5, some people need 8. I can't do 8. My body won't allow me 8. I'm 6 to 6.5. This one I'll throw at you. Eye contact with partner. If you have a partner in your life, unbelievable data with staring at your partner and holding their hands before you go to bed releases oxytocin. I have a hard time with that personally, but yeah, make eye contact. Say something nice. Try it. I like it. Okay. Touch is unbelievable. Touch is unbelievably important. Okay, we talked about reading. Talked about no doom scrolling. Greater and greater data on how bad those phones were. We never knew. Okay, again, we talk about in the morning. We'll get to the end. Talk about those looking in the mirror. You don't have to look in the mirror. I do an inventory at night, and I lay there and I go, how was I today? How was I with people? Those casual people I met. Not only it's easy to virtual signal and help the old lady with the cart from the supermarket. But how are we with the people that are close to us? Were we nice to them, or were we short to them? Were we a little casually cruel to them? That's too easy to do. So I lay there and I really do an inventory and say, how could I have been better? I don't torture myself, but I really go, all right, I'm a good guy, but how could I be better? But what they say is, if you don't have any words of affirmation that you want to give, they recommend an easy one like, I am grateful for this day, and I finish it in peace. Too easy, right? Say something positive instead of, I know so many negative people, and they just carry this blanket of negativity around with them. And it doesn't allow you to be open and absorb good stuff in our lives. Last thing, they call it let it go, never mind, or the state of surrender. Now, the state of surrender is just accepting the day with whatever happened without resistance. Just, okay, whatever happened today. Tomorrow I'm going to get up, of course, and I'm going to say, today's going to be a great day. But if you go to bed with a cloud of, I didn't do this, I screwed this up, this was terrible, how the heck are you going to fall asleep at night? So clear that mind. There's lots of ways you could do it. Again, meditation, yoga, prayer, unbelievable. With that, I'm going to thank you all, and I'm going to pass you on to Michaela.
Another wonderful presentation about how this physical domain affects our well-being, and he had some great segues into our next and last presentation, myself, which is on social. And full transparency, this was not originally my presentation, so asking for some grace here. Originally it was going to be done by our very own Kristen, who is another provider here, and she is a social worker, so she was going to talk about social domain. I am not a social worker, but another therapist here at this practice. So I'm going to do the best that I can to convey her message here. So, to start, let's just start by thinking about how we're feeling right now. We're here in this amazing mental health practice. We're talking about how to better ourselves, really kind of taking inventory, like Dr. Wayne said, of these different domains in our life, right? Just not asking for you to do anything here. Just notice how you're feeling now compared to how you might feel in a different social setting. Maybe with family members who piss you off sometimes, or friends who are being annoying. And just notice the difference of how you feel right now compared to other settings. Highlighting that we can't really escape from any social setting. We are always around it. It's part of nature, and we are nature. So it does impact us all the time. So we as humans regulate our stress, our motivation, our physical health through connection. Our relationships are going to affect our nervous system, right? How we feel in different settings. It's going to affect our health behaviors, our financial decisions. So turning it over to you all again, think about the last really stressful time in your life. What did you do? Right? You didn't know what to do. Maybe you called someone, right? What do I do? Who do I ask for advice with this? And did you have that person, right? Maybe there was someone that you could call and you're like, oh my God, thank God, I couldn't have done this without you. Mm-hmm. Or, oh my God, I have no idea who to call right now. So most of us don't realize it, but our first instincts during stress is to reach out for something, right? More often than not, maybe a person. Trying to look for some connection. We're looking for support. We're looking for reassurance, advice, or maybe just someone to be with us during a really hard situation. So social help is not separate from our well-being. It really shapes it for us. So this social domain is closely connected to our physical and our financial well-being. So briefly, I'm going to highlight the ways that social environment or social relationships impact our physical and financial health. So think about the idea of you being lonely. Can everyone identify with the feeling of loneliness? Okay, so I feel lonely. I feel really sad. I feel depressed. I feel a sense of helplessness, maybe worthlessness.
what's the point in even picking up the phone? Right? What's the point in working out? Whatever, screw it, I'm just gonna buy the $12 coffee because that's gonna make me feel better right now, right? You see how that emotion is going to influence your decisions, right? When you're alone, when you're isolated, right? So isolation is going to be your biggest enemy when you're really struggling mentally. So our relationships are going to affect how we're sleeping, right? I'm lonely, I'm sad. I'm gonna stay up and scroll on my phone because I think that's what helps me wind down. When we're scrolling, it's not your life, it's someone else's life. Someone else's life. Someone else's life. Right? So when we're thinking socially, we want to think about co-regulation. That's kind of like a buzzword, not a buzzword, it is a real thing, but it's been recently thrown around much more often. I use it too, I love co-regulation. What that is I'm going to just be with you and sit with you, no matter what is going on for you. And you're just going to have your experience, and I'm going to let that happen. So we can provide some safety in that moment. So you're more likely to go for a walk or eat better or rest when you're around a supportive person or a supportive environment. All right. Financial stress, going off of that amazing presentation, can strain your relationships. You get asked to go on a walk or get a juice or coffee, and you're like, oh my God, that's gonna be $12. I really can't swing that. I can't go for a walk, but I'm afraid to say no because we don't talk about money, right? Or, right, I'm 30, right, everyone's getting married. I have to buy 5 gifts for 5 different weddings. I can't do that. Should I go? Should I not go? I can't show up empty-handed. What am I gonna say, right? So that's gonna impact you too. All of these thoughts are stirring within you maybe. Isolation might increase, right, those impulsive coping behaviors. Like I said, I was screwed, I'm just gonna get, the coffee or that sandwich that I really like. I'm gonna buy that shirt because that's gonna make me feel better. That immediate gratification, because sitting in that doesn't feel good. Our support systems can help us during setbacks. And it does take some courage and vulnerability on our respects to be honest with other people and say, hey, I'm having a really hard time. Can you be with me with this? Or I need help. How hard is it to say I need help? We're so willing to help someone else, but it's painful to ask for help, right? I mean, myself included. Misconception that therapists already know how to do all of this. We have an idea, but we have to practice these things just as much as everyone else does. Think about how much your social domains can help as far as networking. You're out of a job. You need to meet someone. Maybe you're going to network or shake someone's hands and you'll, converse. What do? You'll learn about it. Oh my gosh, I'm really going through a hard time. Wait, I know someone who's looking for help, right? You never know what's going to happen or what could spark from a seemingly simple conversation or a simple encounter. All right, let's think about burnout. That's going to affect our productivity. I'm so tired. Oh my God. Another 5-day work week. It's Monday already. I already need the 5 cups of coffee before the day has even started. We're not getting as much work done. We're stressed. Maybe that affects our income depending on what you do. I don't know. But we can see how it connects. Our stress is going to affect our decision making. Whether we're going to isolate or whether we're going to take that really hard, vulnerable step of calling someone. Even if you don't say what's going on, but just picking up the phone, right? That 1,000-pound phone. Maybe we do it, maybe we don't. So none of these areas live separately. When one suffers, they all do. So moving right along, Kristen wanted to enforce this rule of 3 support systems. So everyone needs 3 types of people. A safe person. Who can I be fully honest with? Who am I going to call where that phone isn't going to be as heavy as maybe it usually is? The practical person. Who's been through this before? Maybe who knows about this? Who's going to give me some advice and some clarity here that I need? And an encouraging person. You got this. Remember why you're doing this. You can do this even though it's hard. Okay. I'm also just moving a little quickly because we are going over time. So like Dr. Wayne said, we care about you, so we want to get you going. All right, so we can't really talk about this social domain without talking about boundaries, right? How many times have we heard the word boundaries come up? It's like all of the time. Sometimes boundaries can seem mean. Sometimes they can, seem even cruel. Like, oh gosh, I'm creating more space between people. Boundaries are essential for healthy connections and relationships. They actually maintain those relationships. They create more safety, and they make those interactions easier. But again, it does take courage and takes some vulnerability and personal control to set those boundaries. So they're invisible guidelines that help you create and determine what's acceptable for you, what is safe to you, and what you believe is healthy for yourself. At the end of the day, do you, right? We're all going to have a different set of what I like to call special instructions, because there's no one size fits all. We're each living our own separate life. So boundaries protect our mental and physical energy. Chronic people pleasing, super guilty of that. That is evidence of lack of boundaries. I'm always saying yes, I'm afraid to say no. Oh God, this person is having an event, they asked if I could go, but I feel really tired. Don't go. Don't go. It's not worth it. And if they are really that important to you, and if they're really a close relationship, they will understand. They will. And if they don't, do we want that person in our life? I don't know. Emotional exhaustion affects the body, right? That inner conflict within ourselves of how is this person going to react, or how is my behavior going to affect someone else? You're not responsible for anyone else's feelings but your own, right? We already have enough going on within ourselves. We don't need to take on everyone else's, right? Not even therapists, right? We teach you how to separate that. Like I said, boundaries aren't a punishment. They provide these guidelines so that you can interact a lot more seamlessly instead of feeling like you're, what's the phrase, like going upriver or going against the grain, rather. So a healthy social life isn't about having access to everyone. It's about meaningful access to the right people. All right, so last little bit. For you to just think about, categorize the relationships in your life. Who energizes you? I feel pretty energized right now, right, in this discussion. Who drains you? Who supports your growth, right? Have you heard like energy vampire, right? Mm-hmm. Who only shows up during the easy moments? Who shows up only when they want something? Who is there when you do pick up the phone and you call them? Who does not respect your boundaries? I bet lots of people. So think about a small social change you can make today, this week, this month. Right? Just to, as you're taking that inventory, I loved that what Dr. Wayne said. What is in your orbit of your life as far as your social network goes? Who's fueling you in a positive way, and who's really draining you? So financial health matters, physical health matters. Social health often determines whether we can sustain either one. Who you spend your life around shapes your nervous system, habits, stress, and ultimately your well-being. It looks like that was all that Kristen had. So thank you all for being so supportive of her, and her little girl had an emergency, so I hope that she's going to be okay, and thank you all for listening. So that concludes Kristen's portion of our social domain and how that impacts our well-being. So thank you very much. And I'm really that actually wraps up all of the presentations that we had for today. I really want to thank everyone for taking their Saturday morning time to spend it with us and being part of today's MindBody Connection event. We hope that it was able to offer some tools and insight and further connection as we close out and open some time for Q&A. There is some food. Just a note before we start to all hop up, I want to notify everyone of upcoming events that we are going to be having, so make sure that you stay tuned into the Mental Mediator as well as with our other presenters. Afterwards, if you would like to get their information to stay connected, please come up to myself or the other presenters. At Mental Mediator, we are going to be having a Dungeons and Dragons group led by another provider here named Jesse. He wasn't able to make it today. An art therapy group by Madison and Ashley. A TED Talk style event that we're still working out the date for. And there's going to be additional events throughout the year. So be sure to follow us, check our website, ask us questions, and thank you so much.